Welcome back to the Best Start Guide, guys. It is day 25. Let's start by checking the referrals, see if we got it, and whoa! Yes, we did. It's Shill of Drunks. It's Shill of Drunks. We're gonna collect the shards, the fragments rather. We're gonna collect the we'll collect the extra XP. I mean, I guess we could leave it here too, just in case it expires and we don't need it for a while. Nah, let's just take it. Let's just take it, and we'll see where the day takes us. And here's Shardio Rocks up at level 28. So thank you to whoever this is. I don't know if this is one person, if this is two people, whoever you are. Thank you. I love the shout outs to Shill of the Drunks and to Shardio. I really love it, guys. I really do love it. So we'll collect the gems from the mine. This is now a maxed out mine. I went ahead and I spent the gems on it. I think it's a worthwhile investment. Um, when I did my math a while back, the number that I seem to remember is that it pays for itself in 3 months. And we are going to be playing at least for 3 months, so it is going to pay dividends after that. It might even pay dividends sooner, because I might not be the best at math. So in my notes it still says Bolo Armiger, I realize, but we're not really that gung ho about getting extra copies of Armiger, but heck, let's just grab it. Let's grab the Zephyr Sniper too. Um, she might be handy in Faction Wars. I'm already starting to think about the Faction Wars teams, and maybe today will be about getting the Faction Wars stuff together. The game's very sluggish today. Not really sure why. It could be that the game's been running since last night, and after the game runs for a long time, it gets kind of sluggish. We'll just take a free level. This is probably another good thing I could do with the gems. I don't know. I might start unlocking these slots and then put five different no, five of the same food. I want five of the same food. It'll be five of the same unit. It'll be whatever our favorite food unit is. On my main account, my favorite food unit is Redeemer. I don't know. I like her look. I like the name Redeemer. It's they have the in joke of she's somebody that I'm going to redeem later, and that's why I kind of accumulate them in the account. But it could be anybody. It could be you know, it could be Warboy. Warboy's Mr. Burrito's favorite. But anyway, what do we got today? Today I want to talk about the faction wars. I also restructured the notes. So basically, I've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 5 star and Kale. These are like the steps that you can take. These are the steps I'll take next time. Um, having having all these fragments for Jamarsa, it now gives me the option of going for Jamarsa first. I'm probably going to hold off on pulling her until we can do double duty. Kind of the same thing with Zinogre Blade Master. I'm gonna leave the two of them in here for now because I'm not gonna build them immediately, but I'm gonna be getting on building them basically ASAP. So we have Jamarsa, we have Zinogre, Drexthar Blood Twin. Did I get the daily the daily thing? It's good to remember to do this. It I hate, and I'm using the word hate here. I hate that they make you wait exactly 24 hours, 20 minutes. I'm not gonna remember that in 20 minutes. You guys watching are gonna have to remind me, and then like when you're watching the video, reach back through time, or you could even just comment like, guys, Gavin, get your Drexstar guy in 20 minutes. Get him in 20 minutes. 20 minutes is that's 6:20. Okay, I could do that. Oh, and I guess it's also clan boss time. Come to think of it, have we checked in? This is usually the first move. Check in. Should that be in the notes? Like check in. It should be in the notes. There, check in. So we never forget again. I mean, there's a little red dot at the bottom, So it shouldn't be that hard at this point for me to fall into that routine of checking in. It's good for the whole clan to check in. You get clan stars, those activity stars help activate things like clan versus clan. Not that I'm a huge fan of clan versus clan, but if you essentially ignore clan versus clan and just sort of passively do stuff, it's free extra stuff, and maybe that's the correct approach. So we've got our check-in. We're gonna go do our clan boss now. We're at full keys. That means we got some chests to collect. Um, we got just one. Yeah, I threw all of my keys at hard and it switched to force affinity, which is the worst one for Kale. So even with, I threw either 3 or 4 keys at it. I don't know at this point. It's hard to tell. But you know, that's rough. That's the way the cookie crumbles. That's what happens. I really want to try as quickly as possible to get Sun Wukong to 6 stars. I'm just going to start with the instantaneous key. This way, at least we get a top chest from somewhere. I think we won key now without it being the correct affinity. What is the amount? It's 3 million. I think it's 3.6 million. Oh, I'm really sorry about this, guys. The game is being so slow today, and I am not sure why. Um, retry. Well, while the game tries to figure that out, I mean, my internet connection looks fine. Maybe it's the server. Um, well, I did a little bit of regearing of the champions last night, and I set up a Dragon 13 team. I managed to push Dragon all the way to 13, which means we can get 6-star artifacts from Dragon. So that's gonna be awesome when I actually do get a 6-star artifact. Didn't get one yet. Got a bunch of 5s, a bunch of 4s. Server connection failed. Okay. I'm not really sure what's going on here. And oh yeah, we got extra energy from there. Okay. So come on, game. Can I run dragon? Is that gonna allow me to do something? Because I gotta do something. And actually, before I do something, I want to show you the way I got Tagore geared. So I kind of geared up Tagore, assuming it might be a while before I got Jamarsa. It's kind of funny that I got her immediately after gearing Tagore. So I'm going to need to make a decision whether Tagore gets to keep the gear or whether Jamarsa gets the gear. But Tagore has basically already taken some of the best gear from Grinner. I got him too. These stats here, he's only a 4-star. He's not even fully leveled. So he definitely needs to be tougher. The game, of course, brings us to this screen first. Why, Plarium? Why? Nobody needs to see that. So he's got 18,000 hit points. And here's just a little public service announcement. First time I geared him, I screwed up and I gave him 3 pieces of immortal gear and 3 pieces of regen gear. You do that, he will regenerate almost nothing. You got to make sure it's 4 pieces of regen, guys. That's how the game is played. So I'm going to hit start. Maybe it'll let me do dragon. I don't know why it's not letting me do clan boss. Kale is still doing most of the work. This is where Kale really shines, because the dragon does melt quite a lot with the poisons, particularly when the dragon uses his breath attack. The closer to dead the dragon is, the more ferocious it is. Not sure if everybody out there understands the game mechanics of the dragon, but one of the things about the dragon is the lower his health bar is, the more damage he does. He's kind of like the monster version of Flaorius, or the Fury set. And interestingly, if you have Leorius and you put him in the Fury set, you can watch him have explosive damage when his health gets low. Or anybody out there that happens to have Leorius. I know that at least one of you does. Not mentioning any names, Beanie. So this is maybe not the best team for this level because I'm already kind of violating some of the precepts. Ideally, I'd have some Force champions that'd have a much better chance of surviving here. Wow. Clearly, I wasn't even examining how this team would do. I knew Tagor would get close to death when fighting his way to the dragon. He's actually never died before reaching the dragon before. So this just goes to show how much of the work your 6-star starter is really doing. But the two 5-stars are actually carrying quite a bit as well. And basically against anything that does something other than entirely AoEs. That's when having Sun Wukong really comes in clutch, because he'll get targeted. And that's the one good thing. This is magic, so he will definitely... I mean, the dragon won't. The dragon does nothing but area of effects. But on the waves, they'll keep targeting Sun Wukong until he dies. And then they'll target Kale, but they'll only have about 3 turns of that before Sun Wukong gets back up. This is how I was beating Spider 10. It was easy enough because the Spiderlings wouldn't have very much time to attack Kale before they'd redirect and go back to fighting Sun Wukong again. So you can see, like, the breath attack's getting really dangerous as his health bar gets down. And this is why I stopped at 13. I am certain I'm not going to be able to get through the next level without a Spirit 6. Because level 14 of Dragon is Force. Once this switches to Force, Kale sucks. Your Magic starter will suck. Hey, Magic, no speed substat. That is too bad. On my main account, I would sell this, but honestly, I want to kind of hoard gear just to keep our options open. So let's take a look at Faction Wars. I talked about this yesterday. Actually, let's start by looking at the quests. So I completed this stuff last night because, you know, sometimes I'm a go-getter and I can't wait for the next episode, but I've decided this is a good time slot for me to actually shoot the episode. So I will tend to shoot the episodes right after the clan boss reset. Probably not always, but usually. Ascend a piece of gear. That's an interesting one. Do we have any resources to do that? And even if we do, what do we want to do that with? We did at one point upgrade this one. We could even just put a second level into this. Ascend. Because it is crit damage. So why not? It's a sure thing. We'll take the 80. We'll put it into crit damage. We got an extra 2% crit damage on our Kale. So he's moving up in the world, doing more crit damage. Defeat a Faction Wars boss. And craft a perception artifact at the forge. I mean, there's 2 approaches to this. I could make like the best possible perception artifact at the forge, or I could just make a really gimpy one and not care how it turns out. In fact, I don't have enough resources left to make the best one, so let's just make one crappy one. It is an accuracy chest. Wow, that's not crappy. I mean, it's 4 stars, but accuracy on a perception set is what you want. You basically want accuracy on the chest, speed on the boots, maybe with a subset of accuracy, and you're golden. So that was kind of incredible. And for the rest of the pieces, you just about always want at least speed or accuracy so that it's congruent. You want congruity with your pieces, right? Like when you're going through your pieces, you want to look at them and I mean, very quickly, life, offense, and defense kind of don't matter anymore. But then on speed, you want to start to see speed on your speed. And I'm not really seeing it, but you could go like, okay, prioritize speed, please. So this is the fastest one we have right now. It's boots, but it's the substat that's the speed, which is okay. I'd probably keep these maybe for the first month or two, and it's not even rolling the extra speed. So, I mean, we're so devoid of stuff on this account that it seems kind of silly to be selling stuff like that. But yeah, most of the decent speed gear is already on something. Like Apothecary, he's got a nice subset of speed. I don't know when the last time I've shown my builds, come to think of it. Here, let's take a quick look at my Kale, just in case you guys wanted to see where Kale is at. When I'm soloing all this stuff, I'm using Kale, so this is what his stats look like. He's got 161 crit damage, which is very high for a starting account. Although again, this is day 25, so I've had 3.5 weeks to accumulate gear so far and take the best gear and compound it onto my starter. When I've built my second six, then I'm going to have to choose who's getting the best of what. The best lifesteal stuff is probably going to stay on Kale, and he will probably stay the solo farmer for a variety of places. But we'll see if, for instance, Sun Wukong, and this is going to be my second six. This is already predetermined. I mentioned this in the last episode too. When determining the next six, there are a number of factors, but basically I went ahead and I took this clan quest, upgrade a legendary champion from the Skinwalkers faction to rank 6. So it's going to be Sun Wukong. But if I hadn't jumped the gun there, I might also be open to it being Shield Guard. He's another good one. Burrito. I know Burrito's just going straight for Saurus. Saurus is a nice dynamic choice for campaign farming. He's got nothing but area of effect attacks. My Saurus is not particularly good yet, but I think he's good enough to clear the lowest levels of faction wars. And that's another thing that you want to be able to do. And I am going to get to that in this episode, probably. I'll make a tentative promise to that. Here's what the shield guard looks like. I am nowhere near as proud of his gear. His speed sucks, but I've got him to nearly 2,000 defense, and his crit rate is reasonably high. So the advantage that I'm looking for here is he gets a free turn, basically, or most of a free turn whenever he does his AoE, and that's kind of what I'm offsetting. So let's say I decided to campaign farm with him, and he's got 113 speed, which is fast enough that he's going ahead of all of the enemies in front of him. So he'd hit them all, and he'd get about 80% of his turn meters, so that he can immediately come in with his A1. So if it was balanced perfectly, his AoE might kill 3 of them, leave 1 standing, and then his A1 just comes in and picks off the last guy. And then on the next wave, rinse repeat, because this is on a 2-turn cooldown. So he's not fast, but if I were to build him specifically for campaign farming, you could make it so that he's just fast enough to do his job exactly right. And then you can get away with not having a lot of speed. But really, I'd like to give him a lot more. Are these speed boots or these defense? No, these are defense percent boots. And it makes sense to have defense percent boots on shield guard. Although it makes more sense to have substats of speed. I'd love to see if I had some of that. But also, we are so starved for silver. Like, how much silver do we have? Practically nothing. This isn't going to build anything. We need to sell a huge amount of stuff. But anyway, who else matters? We got Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong is another champion. You can kind of get away with having low speed on Sun Wukong because if he dies, he just gets back up with 100% turn meter as long as he's ascended. So he's kind of a cheat code. I've never started a new game with Sun Wukong before, and I gotta say he's really a big advantage. Big advantage. Huge, just huge kudos to Plarium. A plus, no notes on this champion. I'm glad everybody has a chance to get him. You can choose not to get him, of course. Some people are choosing other champions where there's merit to choose them. You've got who are a lot of people choosing? A lot of people in the content creator program that are all competing in Hell Hades' thing. They're all going with this guy, Mordecai, and he's great at killing Spider. Maybe the best epic there is at killing Spider. And that might make all the difference because farming Spider turns out to be a pretty big part of this game. It's the best way to get silver. It's theoretically the best way to make experience as well. It's the best dungeon for experience. I maintain that doing campaign is still better for experience though. And there are other good reasons to do it early, and there are other good reasons to do it late. In fact, you pretty much always want to run campaign. So even though some people are saying, well, the meta is dungeons now. I don't know why people are calling that the meta, because it's not the meta. That's not what the meta means. The meta is basically the in-game what turns out to be the best deal, and it's only Spider if you want silver. And it's always been Spider for silver, so that's not new. So it's not a new meta, it's just a meta that already existed. I'm just going to rant about the meta, I guess, apparently. But you get clear, no, it's in the monthlies. You get win campaign battles 500 times, so you got to be vigilant of that. Maybe your first month or two, you'll have no problem doing this because you're clearing campaign anyway. But toward the end game, playing, if you guys happen to be watching, I can't imagine that you are, because I make long form videos. So this is really just for somebody that wants to be in for the long haul, and I can't imagine anybody anybody whose sole raison d'etre in this raid gaming community is to be a parasite and make a huge amount of money off we poor schlubs who don't know any better. You probably don't really care how we feel, and you probably don't respect our time, and you probably don't care that 500 is not 30 times 5, right? The daily is win seven campaign battles or win 3 boss battles in campaign. And I'd say you got a 50-50 chance of each, so that averages out to 5. Times 30, that is 150. And I keep going to the wrong one, I'm sorry. That's 150. That's not 500. So that means that honestly, guys, you got to do campaign an awful lot. You have to do it an awful. You probably have to do it more like an average of 20 times in a given day than 5 in a given day. So it's very deceptive, and you can end up at the end of the month without reaching that particular milestone in your quests. So I've actually got a preset here for Kale. I'm going to show it to you. I set it specifically for this area because now I'm trying to get Spirit Host. That's where I'm at now. If I get duplicates of Spirit Host, Kale will get stronger. So I gave him a preset of he uses his Acid Rain here and then never again. And this is, I don't know how familiar you guys are with presets yet, but by the time you're 25 days in, you'll want to get familiar with presets because they can make your life better. They can make this run faster. So I've got the Acid Rain. He will open with this anyway, so you don't really need presets for Kale, but I just like doing it just in case things take a little too long. And in section 2, or in wave 2, I leave it turned off because I found what was happening some of the times is he'd often come in with Disintegrate and wipe out at least half of them, maybe even 3 of them. And on the last one, just before killing the last guy, which would have easily gone down with his A1, he uses his Acid Rain, and then wave 3 just takes a long time. So this way, I'm guaranteeing that he won't do that. And instead, he'll just use his AoE on turn 1 and turn 3. This preset will probably break in some areas that get too hard, where you just want him to use his area of effect as often as possible. But it's good for here. So I think we have 2 Spirit Hosts, and that's it. If I got 2 more Spirit Hosts from this area, or 2 more of any Dark Elf, it's just rare Dark Elves that I'm collecting, but this early in the game, it's very difficult to get Ancient Shards, and rares from Mystery Shards are indeed rare. So getting a Dark Elf rare is all the more rare. I think I popped out more Skinwalkers from this area than Dark Elves. That's the other awkward thing about starting with Kale and then wanting to max out his Guardian Ring is we've got 1 Dark Elf and we have 1 Skinwalker here. And it makes it so much more awkward. So if you started with Elhain, you could do that in this area, and you got 2 High Elves to choose from. So if you get a rare, it's going to be a high elf. And you can even farm boots all at the same time. This is probably the strongest case for Elhain, aside from her having 2 area of effect attacks, which maybe also makes her the best at Spider. She's also got the best campaign area to farm. I think easily she has the best campaign area to farm. With Galek, I don't even know. I forget. What is his area? Is it Godfrey's Crossing? No. Is it Tilshire? It's Tilshire. You do get an orc here. So yeah, I mean he doesn't look like an orc, he looks like a dog, but he's in the orcs faction. And finally you got a Thel. So maybe if I were to rank order the starters in terms of who it's easiest to max out, or who you get the most utility from maxing out, I'd say that the best one is Elhain, followed by a Thel, because you can go after this guy, but you're also going after lifesteal gear, which is maybe the second most useful thing at the start of the game. Maybe even the most useful thing. Maybe they're tied for first. There's lifesteal, there's speed. Speed is always going to be good. Lifesteal at the beginning of the game is going to be really, really good. It might even be required for your solo champ at the start, and hence why you tend to get so much of it. There's also there's the dragon event going on. 2 episodes ago, I said I was basically done with events because I find they take away from my enjoyment if I get too swept up in meeting really high milestones, and it leaves me with nothing to do except farming one dungeon over and over and over again. We've even got a dungeon divers event now. These are often really horrible, but we could look at it. But basically, we're going to passively collect stuff from all of these events because it's free stuff for doing what we're going to do anyway. My goal isn't to go after the Zenogre stuff because, again, I think the threshold is way too high, and the stakes are too high. I can't go after a 1-star soul for her. I can't go after a 3-star soul. It's all or nothing. It's the 5-star soul or it's nothing. And that is very hard on the player. It's a lot of stress. So dungeon divers, I'd say on an average day, even on my endgame account, a number like 1,000 is maybe the amount of farming that I do in a day if I just threw away all my energy on just farming a dungeon. Just farming a dungeon, you get to about 1,000. How many days are in this thing? 3. So you'd probably have to burn extra energy even to get to this last milestone of 3,500. That's for an endgame free-to-play player. Obviously, if you're one of those players that just buys 10,000 energy and has one of those dig bic teams where you're farming Spider in 12 seconds, well, cool. You could probably do it. It's probably no trouble for you, and the game was probably made for you. Shall we try the Demon Lord again? Is it going to let me? Go to normal. We'll just try to do the quick battle. This is a better sign. So we got 3.7 mil. I think that's just north of the requirement. It is. So we got the night chest. Awesome. We're going to get a top chest this time. It's always nice to get a top chest. I thought I could get 1 in 3 keys from hard, but that's really dependent on him not switching to force. Will he switch to force today? I guess there's only one way to find out. But anyway, here's what I want to do with the account for now. How are we doing on time? We're only half an hour in. Okay. With the energy, I want to just go after the speed gear. Because a 3x speed gear, in the end game, this is great. In the early game, this is great. In the mid game, you guessed it, it's great. It's just always great. You basically always want to go after speed gear because it makes your units faster. I think a good rule of thumb is when you're building your champions, you want to try to build teams that run above 200 speed. It makes your life so much easier. And I see so many new players building all kinds of stats and having very little in the way of speed. And it's not like it's anybody's fault. I mean, speed is hard to come by. So you get speed from the speed set. You also get speed substats, and that's what you want to look for on the drops that you get from Dragon. But when building your champions, you want as much speed as possible. So that means the main stat on boots pretty much always needs to be speed. I'm going to say pretty much always. There are always reasons to go for either attack percent, defense percent, or HP percent. If you have a tank who doesn't need to go fast, then you're probably fine with HP percent boots. If you're going with a defense-based nuker, or a defense-based tank hybrid nuker, then defense percent boots make sense. I'd probably still put speed boots on my shield guard if I had them. I think I just went with defense percent because it was the next best thing for my shield guard. But honestly, I'd still go with speed because taking more turns means you get to do more of the stuff that you want to do. And 200 speed is damn near double what your average enemy wave goes at. So if you're taking 2 turns for every one, if you've got leech on them, for example, if you're placing debuffs on them, your debuffs are going to last twice as long because you aren't running at a 1-to-1 ratio with your enemy. You're running at a 2-to-1 ratio with your enemy. So you can keep up decreased defense all the time on the Dragon, for instance, or on the Fire Knight. Fire Knight, Pyro, he runs, I think, all the way down to difficulty 25. I think he just runs at 100 speed. So basically, you just need to build your team accordingly. The Spider Queen also runs at 100 speed, all the way down to level 25. Anyway, once you get to hard mode, they start to crank up the speed of the monster boss. But you don't need to worry about that because we're new game players here. We're just dealing with the normal dungeon. It's going to be a while before we unlock hard. It's going to be one of the main fun queries to answer. At what point are we going to reach a hard dungeon? It's really only going to happen once we really truly master the regular dungeons. So still no substat of speed. I'm going to be farming this a lot. I'm going to close out the day by farming. In the meantime, I did want to talk about a few other things. So we could go to the advanced quests. You going to take me there? Oh, we've also got the challenges. We've done a lot of these. In fact, the only thing left is the Fire Knight Castle. What is this? Okay, we're getting potions. So let's just collect these. These are going to be good. I kind of did these passively throughout the week. They're often just clear a certain stage on auto. This doesn't even say on auto. It just says clear stage 8. I don't know if that's within our capabilities. We could try it though. We could definitely try it. Stage 8 is next, in fact. So what do we want? We want Apothecary, because he gets 3 hits. I even have a special Fire Knight team. It's even selected. Let's see if they have what it takes. I'm keen to see. And while it runs that in the background, Faction Wars. This is something I keep making mention of this, and this is a one-line thing. I'm just going to I'm going to go over this again. I like to keep one champion that can solo Faction Wars for every faction if possible. And then I'm going to focus on 2 best factions. Although I think I might actually focus on 3 or 4 at this point because there are enough champions to do it. So maybe these maybe I'll even say 2+ because at this point I think I have enough decent champions to fill out a team for High Elves and for Banner Lords, particularly now that we have Rathalos Blademaster. Oh, they almost made it. Almost made it without his shield even coming back. Let's see. Should I maybe take over manually? I probably should have taken over manually. Oh, he's taking his turn. I'm going to take over manually. I don't trust them. I don't want Apothecary not to use his triple shot. Apothecary, use your triple shot. We got to get through. Kale, take it home. And there we go. So I think that reaches that milestone for the dungeon. So we collect, hey, it's energy. I hate being at full energy, but it looks like the game wants us to be there now. And hey, look, we got a void shard. That's really cool. So we have a bunch of dungeon milestones to reach, like clear 13 of Dragon's Lair. We're actually there. I can do that now. So I'll go ahead and do that again at some point soon. We have a summon boost. And honestly, I'd be content to even pull a void rare. So we could pull it right now. Well, I say that, and of course the game is stalling again. Come on, game, why are you being so slow? What is the deal? I'm looking at my task manager. What is wiping out my memory? I think I'm just getting memory leaks in Raid. So I apologize for the sluggish episode. So we got Golden Reaper. These are just speed leads, I guess. Speed lead specialists. I love Golden Reaper. I've actually never got Golden Reaper on any single account, but if we look at her for a minute, what is she? She's a Night Revenant, I believe. Golden Reaper is really fast. Like if we wanted a fast speed lead, you've got her. She's got a base speed of 111, which is faster than even Arbiter and a number of the other legendary speed leads. She places a 30% increased speed and boosts the turn meters of everybody by 20%. She's really fast. And she has decreased attack against all enemies. That's extremely useful. So Golden Reaper, that's pretty juicy. But you know what? I'm going to resist the urge to pull this. I think maybe we'll wait for a 2x to just have a better chance of pulling something. Because I'm already happy, honestly. I'm happy with the speed leads we have. We already have Apothecary and Diabolist. Diabolist will get up to 110 speed, which is really just one off what Golden Reaper gets. And when you consider that the goal is to fill out the faction ring, the Guardian ring, the faction Guardian ring, if we can manage to fill this out, she gets an extra 3 speed here, so that'll actually make her faster than the Golden Reaper. Plus, as icing on the cake, even though hers is only a 15% turn meter boost, she's also decreasing the enemy turn meters. So that's even better. So Ant-Man, Diabolist, you are a goddess among mere insects. Don't let anybody tell you different. So I am pretty happy with both the speed leads we have. I'm toying with one of my next 5s being her or him. I'll probably max them both out at some point. I don't know when, because it is very hard to make a 6. Between the two, Apothecary's a little bit slower. I love having them work together because you have her as the absolute speed lead. So basically the absolute fastest stuff on the account. I got 2 speed rolls into that. I got a speed roll into that. These are speed boots 40. I could replace these with a 45 if I happen to get a 6-star from Nightmare Campaign. I can try to farm for that too. Maybe at some point. I don't even know when I'm going to have time to do that. 2 speed rolls, 1 speed roll. So that's how you get stats like this 220. And so I said I'd like to run a whole team at speed 200. If you have a decent speed lead, like Spirit Host has a speed lead that works everywhere, although it's only 10%. In the arena, we got Sun Wukong with his 28%. So I'm really happy with this speed aura. We can run at a speed of 200 plus, at least for these two. Apothecary is damn near it. He's what, 191? Oh, he's 184. Somebody was at 191. Who did I get to 191? Was it Spirit Host? It was Spirit Host. Honestly, I'm tempted to switch around some stuff, but then again, there's a reason why he's a little slower. I only gave him one speed set because I really, really wanted to get him in Relentless. It is nice to get these extra turns packed into his kit. As long as you're running it near 200 speed, these extra turns really pay off. You get a lot of them. So let's go to Faction Wars. And let's see what I was talking about in Faction Wars. So the first two teams I'd say for Faction Wars that you want to build are going to be your starter team and your and the barbarians. Barbarians, you're just going to organically get a lot of barbarians. Now we have Jamarsa in addition to everything else. So this I have Zinogre Blademaster, right? I'm going to be using her in this faction when it makes sense to summon her, but I'm not summoning her today. I wouldn't mind building Marauder though, honestly. He's maybe my favorite rare in the whole faction. So we could build him out to try to solo stage 1. We could do that together. That'd be fun. Let's do that now. But we'll quickly talk about the factions. I think I went over these yesterday. But then Bannerlords, I managed to push a bunch of stars just out of Bannerlords using a shield set. I put a shield set on Spymaster, so if you look at the stats, a lot of them are kind of 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, and then he's got his 13,000. Even though he's a pretty low level champion, I just put him in a shield set because he has a nice base HP, and it more or less doubles the HP of everybody else. So I'm using a shield set to boost up everybody's HP so that just in case Rathalos Blademaster doesn't quite have what it takes to get through all of the enemies before they get a chance to go, you then have somebody in a shield set. Oh, and I since took off his gauntlets. I gave his gauntlets to Tagor. So he was wearing so he was even tougher because they were HP percent gauntlets as well. I gave them to Tagor though. So he had these gauntlets. He actually lost a lot of HP from that. So it was even more pronounced. I think his HP was up at, it might have even been something like 1,500. So he was adding a good 5 or 6,000 HP to everybody. And that, you can even stack them. You can stack shield sets. So for Faction Wars, that's a good thing to bear in mind. What's the other team that we've got going right now? We have ogres. That's an awkward one too. Actually, you know what? We don't need to build a champion together because I could do this. I could show you guys this. I don't even think I have a matching set on him. I just put here. Let's show me what's in the vault. In fact, no. Hide. We're even going to go to the team setup, and I'm going to build an ogre team. This is what we're going to do. We'll go by faction. We do have include the vaults. Good. Does anybody have an aura from the ogres? These are the ogres. That's not an ogre, Gavin. Yeah, we don't have one. We basically just have 5. That's all we have. So these are the 5 we're going to have to take. And are we happy with the order? I might even want to kind of hide him. Here, we can put this guy in the lead. And what I might do is I might, in addition, put a shield set on somebody just to cover the weaker people, right? So you have 9,000 from him. Rocktooth, I like him in an accuracy set, so I don't know if I want to switch that up. I'd need to make somebody tougher. Who's going to have the best? I guess Wagonbane, maybe? But then we got Roughstone. You can see the kind of spike in attack and a little bit of extra speed. Basically, the plan was just to solo with Roughstone. But what I can do in the presets is say, okay, I don't want you using anything else because he has an area of effect on his A1. So he's basically going to become my faction farmer. I happen to get lucky and pull Roughstone. I really like this guy for the fact that he's got an area of effect on his A1, and I'm just going to spam that. That's all he's going to do. I don't care what anybody else does. Rocktooth, this Rocktooth, for instance, he does have an AoE somewhere. So we could say, favor this whenever you can. Maybe on wave 3. Maybe on wave 3 he even wants to use Rabble, the heal reduction, just in case. I don't know. But for now, we could leave it this way. And we could just run it. If anybody goes down, then I might try to use a shield set trick. I'd probably put it on the second Rocktooth, come to think of it, because I'm going to keep them both doubled anyway. I hope I had the good sense to double them in the Faction Guardian ring, because that's an extra 10% hit points to everybody. So here's Roughstone, just wiping out the first wave. He comes in, boom, wipes out the second wave. Rocktooth is faster than him, apparently. But yeah, he's having no problem. So ideally, I'd actually have Rocktooth be slower, or Roughstone be a little bit faster to make this run even more smoothly. But we'll tolerate it for now. It's fine. Let's just hit next, and we'll see if we can push through level 2. So the rest of these champions could be food. By the time I've cleared some of these early levels and I get to a point where I can't clear them with maximum stars anyway. You want 3 stars, and the only way you can get 3 stars is by having all 5 champions survive. So it's kind of an inverse to campaign. And they do that quite deliberately. They're trying to make you fill out more champions. But basically, once we've pushed as far as we can, the rest of these guys will be food. Even Roughstone is eventually going to be food, but for now, he's doing a really good job clearing these. He could do this by himself. Might even be faster if he were by himself. But we'll push to 3. We'll see what happens. It does... You are kind of investing silver in temporary champions by doing the shield set thing. I don't want to have to keep swapping around the shield set, for instance. But it is helping us get stars early, which in turn gives us some other bonuses that might help us immediately. We'll see how far we can get on without losing a champion. And then we'll take a look at the progress bar of Faction Wars. So far so good. Who do we want to take out first? I'd actually really like to take out her first. So not bad, guys. They managed to make it through the first 3 stages, no problem, without a shield set. We're probably on to the next sheet. How much energy is this? I'm just going to collect it, because I basically want to move on and see what we got here. We got an Ancient Shard. We've got 109 stars. Wow, we can clear one more stage. We get an Ancient Shard as well. Not sure when we're going to get around to pulling those, though. But we could go to Ogrin. Every day I'm Ogrin. So go. This is also really annoying. I hate that. I wish there was a way to turn that off. I know there's no aura. Plarium, I know I don't have an aura on my team. None of my champions have an aura. Thank you for reminding me that none of my champions have an aura. Roughstone needs an aura. Rocktooth needs an aura. Rocktooth totally should have an aura. I mean, he's the farmable one, right? So if you get lucky and pull Rockstone for this faction, awesome. Keep a copy of him. He's going to be great for clearing this faction early. If not, and you're just really struggling to find any ogres at all, Rocktooth will get the job done. He'll do it. And we lost somebody. So we could see if a shield set would make that better. Um, we might want to level somebody as well. Actually, here's a way I decide who gets the shield set. I just kind of like to look objectively at the stats rather than seeing where the stats happen to be on my account. So we got Rocktooth. He has 15.5k. He's got 17k, Wagon Bane. Good to know. He's got 15.5. Jailer has 11, so Jailer is particularly uh, brittle, frail, gimpy. Um, so then from the uncommons, we've also got Brute, who's 14.5, Frost Skin, who's 14.8. The stats are usually lower here, but every now and again you'll see one is like 1800 on Hungerer. Do we have a Hungerer? That's who I'd put in a shield set. He's actually got a better base HP than any of the rares that we pulled. The Wagon Bane is 1700, and Hungerer is 1800. So this is what I'd do with a shield set. I'd maybe keep a Hungerer around. Question: do I have one at the moment? We can come to here and we can go, okay. We'll just look for hung. Who's well hung? Hungerer is well hung. So no, we don't have him. We could bolo him in the market. We could come back in 10 minutes. Maybe we'll have a Hungerer. We could look at the tavern. No, we can't. He's not going to be here, Gavin. He's not going to be here. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm hungry for a Hungerer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the quests. I'm just gonna keep I'm just gonna keep blowing through this extra energy. We'll blow it all on Dragon. It'll be worthwhile. So we can even get this. We got another Ancient Shard. So now we can work towards all these goals again. Monthlies, we're 5 days away from another Void Shard and a Sacred Shard. This is very exciting stuff. And what are we looking at here? Daily login rewards. It's more energy. Man, that's just overkill. You know what? I'm an L out of that. I don't know if I want to collect quite that much energy at this point. I mean, maybe I do. The defeat a faction wars boss. Man, can we push to do that? I'm just going to start this up so I don't collect that other 500 energy. Although, you know what? It's a daily thing. We're going to have to get to it anyway. Ugh. So never mind. Let's see what happens here. I'm going to just keep a close eye on it, and as long as nobody dies, I'm happy with it. Otherwise, I do want to see if we can get a shield set on somebody. How are we doing for time? 52 minutes. So this is, we're probably going to close out the episode on this last thing. And we didn't make it. So just we'll end. And I mean, the difference between Hungerer and Wagon Bane is only 1,000. Let's just take this energy because I don't want to end up a day behind on daily rewards, because we really do want to get to High Katoon. She's going to be amazing for the faction. I mean, I've already talked about this ad nauseum. Probably sick of me gushing about how much I like the Barbarian faction. But here in the team setups, I mean, it's the first one I set up. High Katoon will probably take over as the lead just because I like the speed. Although, you know what? This is a pretty good defense aura, and it's faction specific, so that means it's even higher than it usually would. So he might stay here. But High Katoon would make it in. I'd probably be removing this guy, honestly. And leaving in Atur, War Maiden, Shield Guard, Hoskarol, High Katoon. Oh, we got Jamarsa coming as well. Can't believe I forgot Jamarsa. So probably we're just going to remove these two. Or we could use Atur instead of War Maiden, because War Maiden is very frail. I mean, even if she was leveled up, she'd be frail. But as it stands, I don't know. I like the fact that she could drop everybody's defense. War Maiden's just so good. We need to find a way to keep her safe. So we'll probably put somebody in a shield set In fact, a Tour would be good in a shield set. Hoskarol might be too. So did we get a Hungerer? I'm just gonna start pulling a bunch. We're gonna need food. We need a lot of food today. Still not seeing that Hungerer. Ooh, we got a rare. We got Aver the Alchemage. Cool. For dwarves, we might even build this guy. We might. He's at least a healer. I think he even has an AoE, which I think we were missing. For faction wars, for instance. But if we go back to here, for dwarves, I was really struggling to find somebody that had an area of effect. None of these guys have it, but I think Aver actually does. So Aver might finally be the one where even at a low level, we can keep him and use him as the faction clearing champion. Because here we go. He's got an area of effect attack. I don't know if it's worth the books, but we could even get it to a 3-turn cooldown. I'd be happy enough to use it at a 4-turn cooldown, though. He's getting decreased attack and decreased speed, kind of at a 50% chance. Although the decreased speed is on poisoned champions. So I guess just the decreased attack then. Probably realistically just the decreased attack, because it's not like I'm going to be running him with a lot of poisoners. I mean, his A1 has poisons on it. He's an interesting champion. I'm going to go ahead and lock him. He's at least going to be useful in the faction. So where are you, my dude? You're getting locked. I'm hanging on to you, Aber. You're a decent champion. And the turn meter, I might even leave this unclaimed, because if he's just sort of soloing, I probably want him to just favor his AoE and not do the turn meter boost, because he's just going to be turn meter boosting a bunch of champions that probably just want to sit there safe in a shield. And we're at 98. Okay, so we didn't get Hungerer, but you know what? It's fine. We'll do this with Jailer. Not Jailer. Jailer's the crappy one. With Wagon Bane. This guy, what are his skills again? He's just kind of like attacks one enemy, attacks one enemy. He puts out like a continuous heal on the ally with the lowest HP, and it's the weak version of the continuous heal. So that ally's probably still going to die. He can place the small version of decreased defense on one champion. Wow, that sucks. So let's level him. So we could just max him with Bruise. I'm low on Bruise. I'd love to have more Bruise, but we have what we have. Upgrade rank. Who would be worth sacrificing to rank this guy up? Probably nobody, honestly. This is another one of the awkward things when looking at the account. Um, there's merit to a lot of these rare champions, and it's hard to even get rare champions, but at the same time, a guy's got to eat, right? We need our food. But for now, let's leave him at 3. Just a maxed out 3. His HP is now 6,000, plus the extra 10% in the Guardian Ring, so that pays off. We can filter, fitting room, equipped, and we're going to take the shield set that I've got, which is here. So we're going to move it. This does kind of get expensive, but I think it's worth it just for this little thought experiment. So we get that up to 11K. He's got this helmet. I mean, I suppose it doesn't matter which one we take, but this has a better base HP, so yeah, we're taking it. And then I just want... It doesn't even have to be immortal. It could be from life as well. Do I have HP percent gauntlets? Yes. Okay. I'll use them from here instead. Well, can I even roll these up to 8? Yes. Okay. So we'll take these, and we'll take a shield. Who's got the best shields? Yeah, I guess we'll take it from her. And this is going to cost us 100,000 to equip. But his HP is now 15,000. And because 30% of that goes into his shield, I'd say roughly, you're looking at roughly 5 or 6,000 coming out to help pad the HP of the other people in Faction Wars. So we'll go back to the Faction Wars and we'll do the teams. Once more into the breach. I'm just going to do a single because I want a number of attempts at this. But I'm getting close to losing my patience and just doing the doubles. Just saying, screw it. Oh, and I've also made Wagon Bane faster now by accident. But that's okay. I don't mind if he goes ahead of the others. It's really just the weak ones. I want them to get this shield. So you can see their HP is basically more than doubling with the shield. So you can do this with food champs. They come in, they're low level, they're brittle, they're getting hit by area of effect attacks. And I mean, look at this guy. He died last time from a series of hits like that. Not gonna happen this time. Not gonna happen, War Maiden. Go home and put some clothes on, War Maiden. Actually, I'm kidding. Don't. War Maiden, you're perfect the way you are. So we got it. Let's move on to the next stage and see if we can clear it with all stars again. This is kind of a scattered episode. I kind of want to make this about, how to go about gearing your champions for Faction Wars. But I got here in a kind of a roundabout way, guys, so I apologize for that. I suppose I could do the chapter headings on the episodes. I've been lazy of late. I apologize for that, but there's a lot of stuff going on. Excuses, right? But so far we can see. I mean they're just slamming the enemies now. But now some of these vampires or dampiers are getting their free attacks in. But they're going to have to work twice as hard. Here, let's try to take this guy down first. Just because I don't want to end up stuck fighting a Paragon that keeps himself unkillable. And now he's doing the damage control. I'm going to end this battle. I'm going to replay. This is one of those things that it's so irritating. And at some point, I'm sure you're going to encounter this, especially if you have turn meter control in your kit. And you want Faction Wars to complete, and then a Paragon shows up, and he makes himself unkillable. And they arranged it so that the Paragons in the faction are fully booked. So they've got the 2-turn unkillable on a 2-turn cooldown. So he basically can just keep it up indefinitely, unless you can manage to stun him or something. I don't know if we have any buff removal or stuns in the kit. Come to think of it, Roughstone might have one. So I could slow it down and look at it. But come on, guys. You can do it. So he went down, and let's just take him down first. Everyone targets him. He goes down. No problem. Now let's take her out. Uh-oh. One of my guys is getting kind of low. But looks like we made it. So this is the general strategy early game. You can get those stars so that when you do have better teams, you don't have to come back and go through all this stuff just to get your 6 stars. We'll do stage 6 as well. And then I'll probably let you guys go because we're at 64 minutes. So we're already over time. So we'll wrap out the video here. I believe this is all I needed to talk about in this video. Maybe I'll take a quick look at my notes. I suppose I could re-ask the question again, but I'll get back to this later. So for now, yeah. For now, we'll just focus on the faction wars. And we lost somebody already. Dang it. And now I spilled water on myself. I am not having a good time. I am not a happy camper. Um, but yeah, I think I'm gonna leave the video at that. That's basically what I'd say you do for early faction wars building. You want to put aside a champion that has an area of effect attack uh, as your faction solo champ. You might also want to set aside a champion that you put in a shield set. You'd end up having to acquire an awful lot of shield sets to make good ones. So that's probably a second priority. And honestly, um, I'd probably not bother at first because really, the key important thing here. I mean, we lost our main nuker now. We're probably just going to lose this fight. So let's just quit out. I think stage 6 is too hard for the champions that I've brought. But we could just go back to stage 3 and we could farm here. This would probably be the one I'd just farm because you can get a lot of low-level glyphs, which can be handy at just tweaking various teams. Sometimes you need a little bit of extra speed, or sometimes you just want to make your teams a little tougher, or tweak your accuracy a bit, or whatever. And you can get low-level glyphs for that. You get the daily quest that says glyph 3 artifacts, and maybe you've glyphed a lot of your artifacts now, so it's just a throwaway artifact, and that's why it pays to have tons and tons and tons of level 1 glyphs, because then you really don't care. You can just use them, it doesn't matter. You're stocking up on a huge amount of them because you are farming this area every day. And if you have a solo, like Roughstone, for example, you'll get through it pretty fast. I mean, somebody like Roughstone or Saurus, if you have them going ahead of everybody else in the party, and you have them hitting hard enough, you could probably be clearing this in about 6 seconds. So, food for thought. Anyway, that's all I got to say to you guys today. Other than that, take care of yourselves. It's always a pleasure doing the show for you guys. Always a pleasure hearing from you in the comments. Again, thank you so much to the Shell of the Drunks guy or gal, and the Shardio Rocks guy or gal, whoever you are. Thank you very much for that, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care of yourselves.